안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Friday's edition of the Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-hwa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-travel, K-everything. For today's show, we're going to do all of that with our co-host Walter Lee. Walter, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So hello everyone, you know who I am by now. I am your K-Enter host and your co-host today, so stick around for that.
Walter, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you been at any firework events this year?
Sadly not. It was something that I wanted to take my daughter to, but unfortunately I haven't been able to. But I do know that our correspondent has been to a special one for us.
Exactly, that is correct. So let's get a glimpse of that in this report. Fireworks are common at this time of year, but one area in South Korea has its own special type of fireworks. Our news features reporter An Sung-jin checked it out.
If there are galaxies, a swarm of stars in the sky, then on the ground there's Nakhwanori, where beams of fire shine in the dark. Every year, Haman County in the south of Gyeongsangnam-do Province holds a performance that is often called something you must see before you die. This is Nakhwanori. Nakhwa means falling flowers, while nori means game. The fireworks are made by wrapping oak charcoal powder in hanji, or Korean traditional mulberry paper. The special program by the Korea Tourism Organization even allows people to write their own wishes on the paper. The process of creating these paper balls has been patented, and the fireworks are designated as the province's intangible cultural heritage.
Fireworks are popular across Asia, but they all use gunpowder, which harms nature. Unlike those, our Nakhwanori not only emphasize historical and traditional values, but it's also made out of natural Korean ingredients which cause no harm.
After these paper balls are hung up, they are set on fire, falling into the small pond of Bujinjeong Pavilion. As the burning paper catches the wind, countless flames fall on the pond in all directions, resembling flower petals falling or fireworks on the water.
After watching Korean dramas, I've always wanted to visit. Seeing it for myself, it's so fantastic, and I'm very touched. It's worth coming all the way from Japan to see this.
Nakhwanori started during the Joseon Dynasty to wish for prosperity. Though it was halted during the period of Japanese colonial rule, it was restored in 1985 and continues till today. The festival was originally held in May in accordance with Buddha's birthday. However, with thousands of both Korean and international visitors wanting to see this unique sight, the Korea Tourism Organization pledged to host the fireworks more often.
Most of the visitors coming to Korea are clustered in Seoul and nearby areas. However, there are a lot of places like Haman that have regional specific content, which we plan to further develop with local governments and residents.
The organization is seeking to create more programs with the Nakhwanori each month starting next year. An Sung-jin, Arirang News, Haman.
That was beautiful.
That was really beautiful. I've seen them before and it's just so breathtaking.
Yes, not only the fireworks itself, but also the lightings on the trees
Yes.
and the lake, was it?
Yeah.
It was amazing. And what I especially like about the festival was that the harmless ingredients are being used for the fireworks.
I think that's a really important thing these days when fireworks are somewhat getting criticized these days for being either too noisy, being bad for air pollution, but these natural fireworks seem to be great and they are just so beautiful to look at as well. And I think this is also a great alternative for people who want to see fireworks, not just inside the bustling city of Seoul, right? Because we know that there's the Yeouido Festival that many people go to, but to go outside of Seoul and see this, I think is beautiful.
Exactly. And also, I know that Haman County actually is one of the regions that is putting a lot of effort into diversifying tourist destinations. So I think there are also some other famous locations in Haman County, right, Walter?
Yeah, that's right. So it's not just famous for Nakhwanori, right? But it also has historical sites, ecological park, and also some peaceful pavilions as well. So it's a great place to go if you're looking for a nice, peaceful place to, travel.
Exactly. So lots to check out there. And also, Walter, you have lots of K-Enter news that you're checking out for us today.
Yes,
so
we do.
that's coming up next. Stay tuned. And as we just promised, time for our daily dose of K-Enter News with Walter Lee. Now, Walter, we're going to start off with an update on a news that you did recently, and it is about one of our 친구s, because in Korean you say 친구 if you're the same age, and we are born in the year of the dragon.
We are.
And we're talking about GDragon.
Of course, yes, he's one of our friends, so to speak, in Korean. But yes, this Thursday, Big Bang member GDragon, the man, the myth, the legend, released his long-awaited comeback single, Power. Now, I talked about this, like I said, last week. We weren't sure when he was coming out, but now we know. It was yesterday. So it immediately shot to the top of Korea's major real-time streaming platforms, such as Melon or Genie, showing that, being out of the music business for 7 years is not a big deal for people like GDragon. He can come in and he can just blow out the doors and make everything like he just left it back 7 years ago. So yes, he is just a living legend in K-pop.
Yes, you can say so. And I mean, he had a lot of tiny teasers before his comeback. And also, just a few days ago on a talk show, you could listen to a few seconds of the song to be released. So I immediately fell in love with the song.
Yes, I think the song is really like a real good head bopper, and it's like catchy lyrics as well as its beat as well. Alongside, if you watch the music video, it's got this cool one-shot kind of series to it where it's just one big long shot, and it's very GDragon, I'd have to say.
You can
very
see that here
stylish.
right now. Yeah.
Yes. So the song was also co-written by GDragon and also producers Tommy Brown, Theron Thomas, and Stephen Franks. Now, the reason why I mention them is because these producers have actually worked with other famous musicians such as Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, The Weeknd, as well as Missy Elliott. The list goes on as well. So GDragon's comeback is also making waves across the international spectrum as well. Now, Billboard reported on how the release of Power, his single, also, it happens to be his first released single under the new partnership of US independent label Empire. They just said how big of a pioneer and global influence GDragon is in the K-pop world and just the impact that he has just globally.
Really, indeed. And I found it interesting, though, although there was put in so much effort into the song with many famous producers and so forth, the song itself is just 2 minutes, I think 23 seconds long. I think that's the trend these days, shorter songs.
It does seem to be the trend. Is it sort of like the short form, like social media? We saw Jenny's
with Mantra.
Song, 2 minutes and 40 something seconds as well. So maybe it's a new trend.
Maybe. Now, Walter, let's powerfully bounce to another legendary musician here in Korea.
Yes, and Bounce was a little foreshadowing of what to come because we're talking about South Korea. We call him the king of singers. Now, I'm talking about legendary singer Chongpil. Now, one of my favorite songs is Bounce, to be honest with you, to listen to it all the time. Now, he's released his first album in at least 11 years, sorry. Now, this title of his album is called 20. Now, this is actually a running theme because it's actually his 20th studio release and features 7 tracks in total. Now, this marks his first work since his 2013 album, Hello. Now, the title track, It's Okay, or Kuredo Toe, offers a message of encouragement to all today's world. Now, expressing that it's okay to take things slow, which, I think is a very good thing to say.
Very heartwarming.
Very heartwarming. Believe in yourself as well. Now, here's an interesting thing, and might be a little bit sad for some fans of Chongpil, is that he said on October 22nd that it might be his last album.
Oh, that could be disappointing news for the fans.
It could be very disappointing. But for people who don't know Chongpil, he was one of the first Koreans, or he was the first Korean to pass 1 million sales for a single album and was the first to exceed 10 million cumulative album sales and to perform in numerous iconic venues as well.
Okay, now last but not least, we're going to go on to a K-drama or K-series, which really, I think many people have been waiting for it since years ago.
Yes,
and I'll give you a hint for this one.
Yes.
무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
Yes.
It is.
You are talking about Squid Games.
Squid Game.
We're talking about the number 2. Squid Game 2 Season 2 has released its poster, trailer, as well as still images confirming its premiere on the day after Christmas, December 26. Now, this season will follow our, obviously, main character of last season, Ki-hun, played by Lee Jong-jae, the very world-famous Lee Jong-jae now, vowing to get revenge and returns to the games to face off against the frontman, played by Lee Byung-hun. Now, in this first season of Squid Games, if you didn't know, I mean, everybody knows, which premiered back, can you believe it's already been 3 years, September 2021?
Wow.
It became obviously a global sensation around the world, symbolizing the phenomenon rise of Korean content. Now, season 1 was the first Korean drama to rank #1 on Netflix worldwide. And according to Netflix's official 28-day viewership metric, Squid Games amassed, get this, 1.650 billion hours of watch time in the first 28 days, setting an all-time record across the movie's platform.
Incredible.
Yes, in 2022, it also made history at the Emmy Awards, winning 6 categories and becoming the first non-English language production to do so. And it was also the first time a non-English drama series had ever been nominated in the US awards shows. So it's been making
so many records.
So many history-making moments.
Really, I can't wait for Squid Game to come out. So December 26th, I will mark that.
Yes.
And thank you very much, Walter, for those key interviews.
I'll make sure I stick around.
All right. And now we will go over to Ari for other culture-related news.
Welcome to the Culture Wave AI News. I'm Mari, here to guide you through the latest news and events in Korea's cultural scene. Here's our first story of the day. The number of foreign tourists visiting Korea has surpassed pre-pandemic levels for the first time. According to the Korea Tourism Organization, nearly 1.5 million tourists visited Korea in September, marking a 33% increase from the same period last year. That's up 0.3% compared to 2019. Before the spread of COVID-19, the largest number of visitors came from China, followed by Japan. A groundbreaking dance performance has brought together Korean traditional dance master Guk Soo-ho and acclaimed contemporary choreographer Kim Jae-do. The Seoul Metropolitan Dance Theater says the duo have jointly created an original piece titled The Four Seasons, which will be staged at the Sejong Center for the Performing Arts until this Sunday. This collaborative work, which blends Korean traditional and contemporary dance, explores the movements of humans and nature through the theme of the four seasons. Legoland, Korea's only global amusement park located in Chuncheon, Gangwon-do Province, will extend its autumn events featuring Saturday night openings and special performances. Legoland Korea hosted its autumn concert series titled Brick or Beat every Saturday last month, attracting over 30,000 visitors. Saturday night openings will continue throughout this month, offering a variety of events and performances, including DJ shows, dance stages, and a fireworks festival. That's all from me. Keep it tuned to the Culture Wave for more cultural news and lively discussions.
처음 본 순간
An evening out at the movies can get quite costly nowadays. Ticket prices have not only risen here in Korea, but it's a common issue in many other countries. Today, we delve into the reason behind the more expensive movie theater tickets with Jae So, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts. Hello, Professor So. Welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us again.
Hello,
nice to be back.
All right, Professor So, let's go straight into it. How much do tickets here in Korea cost on average, and how does it compare to other countries?
Yeah, well, this is the point of contention today, but basically the cost is around 15,000 won, which comes out to, I think with the exchange rate today, it's almost like $11 in a ticket. And also, that's for regular 2D cinema, but if you go see the 4DX or the ScreenX or the IMAX films, it goes up to US dollars like $14.50 to see a movie. So that's really expensive compared to, say, in the US right now. US prices are between $14 and $16 to go see a movie. And I think the most expensive country in the world for movies is Switzerland at $23 to see a movie.
Wow.
Japan is now around $12.95, something like that. I was there recently. I think I saw a movie there for about $12.50. So yeah, compared to the standard of living, the GDP-based standard of living, I think it should be lower in Korea. But because in 2019, before the pandemic, the price of a movie theater was around 8,000 won, or US dollars about $6. So it's really risen a lot. Yeah.
So what is the main cause behind the increase in the ticket?
Well, there's a couple of reasons why the theater chains have really, the industry there has risen. The biggest one is that during the pandemic, they really suffered financial loss because, as you know, there are many restrictions about, people don't know this, but the cinemas were open, but at 50% capacity, and you had to wear a mask and you had to sit, one seat away from each other.
And
things
you're
like
not
that.
allowed to eat popcorn.
Right, and so, of course, everybody was home watching, all the OTTs. So it ended up, they had a huge loss. So the minute people started coming back to theaters, they wanted to make the money back for what they lost, and they suddenly brought it up from $6 to $11, which is a huge number even for just regular Koreans going. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is the fact that after the pandemic, all the costs went up. Basically, wages to running the facilities in theaters, things like that. And of course, there's the competition of the streaming services. So they're trying to get the people back in, but ironically, because of the sort of high cost of the cinema, it's really driven the audiences away.
Right.
And that's the problem right now that the cinemas are facing, because we're at, as of I think last month, we are at 60% capacity of what it was before the pandemic.
Yes, exactly. As you just said, Professor So, the side effect could be of making the prices higher, that actually we will have fewer visitors at the theaters, right?
Yeah, right. It seems that way anyway. I mean, for me especially, I haven't even been to a cinema for so long. But right, that brings us to our next question though. Do you think that the higher costs affect how often people go to the movies? I mean, you mentioned the OTT platforms before. Do you think there's a massive effect on this?
For sure, because the pandemic was basically, I think, almost like a year and a half to 2 years. Basically from 2020 to about 2022.
Right.
And so basically life patterns changed. You were stuck at home. You ended up binging a lot of streaming services. I think Netflix made a big sort of splash with shows like the Squid Game, things like that. So people started to really get used to just the comfort of their houses. And it used to be, this is always a fight between television and cinema. Even back as far as like the 60s and 70s, when people started, watch television, I think the movie makers were really nervous. So they came up with Cinerama and all these different things to try to get the movies, and they made spectacles and things like that. So this is a fight, but basically the big thing is now, because the prices have risen, and for that price, you can watch 1 month of Netflix.
Oh,
right. So you're not that motivated to go see it. And I think the normal pattern of basically people going to the cinemas once a week, going on a date, making a whole family going out for dinner, watching a movie, that whole sort of behavioral sort of shift has happened in society. And so I think people, unless it's a particular movie, like I think one of the big movies that came out last year was like Avatar. You know, when Avatar came out, people actually went to the cinemas to actually, you know, sort of reconnect with what 3D cinema was about. And now it seems like if it's like a regular drama, you know, something low budget, people are like, I'll wait till it comes out on streaming service. So they want to see more spectacles in the cinema, things like that. So the pattern, sort of the way people and the audiences are wanting to see movies has changed. And unfortunately for the movies, you know, a lot of people choose to watch it at home.
I see.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about a very new approach. I find this very interesting, snack movies.
Yes.
So snack movies are super short movies, and consequently the tickets for those movies are also more affordable. So tell us more about this new concept. I think also we have a movie that just released today.
Yes. So these are it's kind of a new idea in Korea, but it's already happened in countries in Europe, you know, like France, for example. But yeah, snack movies are short movies. Basically, you know, in the summer, there's a movie called Night Fishing. They came out. It had Son Seok-gu, a big actor that starred in it. It was only 13 minutes, but the cinema's CGV charged 1,000 won, which is basically, you know, 70 cents US you know, currency. So it was sort of like, you know, they did an event where you saw it for a couple of days, but they had such a great turnout. I think it was something like 45,000 people went to see it. And CGV actually did a study where the people went to see that snack movie for 1,000 won. They stuck around and watched another movie in the cinema. So about 90% of the people that watched, you know, Night Fishing stayed and saw other movies. So they saw that as a really good thing. And I don't know if you remember, but years before, when all the Pixar movies came out, before the actual, like, let's say, Toy Story played, they would play a short, like, movie that Pixar made. It's about 10 minutes, sort of a get the audience all, you know, happy to watch a feature film. So it's a tradition that's happened before, but it's never been like, you know, there's a separate admissions for it. And the movie I think you're talking about is 4 seconds, 44.
Exactly.
Yeah, 4 minutes, 44
seconds.
Yeah, this came out, this is a Lotte Entertainment film, and it's basically, you know, it's an under 5 minute you know, movies, horror movies, an anthology where there's 8 films put together, and the price is also kind of shocking, 4,000 won, you know, basically much cheaper, you know, than, so it's about, I guess, like $3 US. So it's cheaper than a feature film. So, you know, this is a thing that's coming out. And recently there's a movie that's now playing in the cinemas, which is called The Killers. It's by really famous directors like Lee Myung-se, Chang Jun-han, No Dok, and Kim Jong-un. These guys made basically based on Ernest Hemingway's The Killers. They made these short films about 20 minutes long, and they put it together as an anthology, and it's about 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think. But again, it's short form that's playing. So I think it's a really good system. I think it starts to really take off financially. But I know right now it's mostly used as sort of marketing more than to make money.
Let's get back to the point of how much it actually costs. Now, how is it possible to set these tickets at 1,000 won? I mean, it seems almost like back 20, 30 years ago that we could do that, but not in these days. Like, how is it possible?
Well, there's also a movement now beyond the cinema chains like CGV or Megabox or Lotte. There are all these other privately owned cinemas that are showing movies at a much lower cost. And I think right now people like that. For example, there's a silver screen thing that's happening in Jongno where there's a cinema for older people and the cost of it is very low. But of course, it's not the major movies. They're playing back older movies and things like that. But so there is a desire for people to go see movies if movies were cheaper. And as you said, financially, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, basically, if it's 1,000 won per ticket, it's almost like free.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why they're doing it is, as that movie Night Fishing did, it brought people to the cinemas. You get to see it on the big screen with your friends, with your family. And then after you see the short film, you're kind of energized by it, and you're thinking, hey, maybe we'll go see what's playing right now, you know, that kind of thing. So the theater business really wants you to come back and do this, because I think, as I mentioned before, people are now, you know, all used to watching movies at home.
That is a great strategy, I have to say. So, Professor So, do you think then that these snack movies could be the next breakthrough in the movie sector?
It's hard to say. I personally think it's not going to be a big thing because we've had these kind of short film things, even on the streaming platforms. If you watch Netflix, there's things like Love, Sex, and Robots, and also Black Mirror. These are like kind of anthology-esque short films. You know, a lot of people watch it, but it's not basically the main money maker. And if you're a big fan of film festivals, that's where you go see a lot of short films. And they have like basically, you know, like Busan has the wide angle section, Pucheon Fantastic Film Festival has a short section, and many people really like to go see that. And different to a feature film, a short section is usually they put together a whole bunch of short films. So the running time of the entire program is about 2 hours, but you're watching close to 4 to about 8 films altogether. So this is something not new in the sense, but as a business, I don't think many people will be interested in investing in this unless it becomes a chain, you know, like sort of a fad that could develop into something. But as I mentioned in France, for example, I would visit a theater there on the weekends in France. I don't know if it's anymore, but in Paris, there's a cinema that showed short films. And many of the big filmmakers that are French filmmakers were professional short film makers because they were able to make a living showing their shows. So that's something that I think the government could help to implement. So basically, short form formats are really great because they don't cost as much. There's not much of a risk. And also the fact that if you could start to use that in conjunction with maybe streaming shorts on film so that people get used to watching these things. And also, you know, we're all used to watching TikTok and YouTube shorts. So, you know, 2 hours seems like a huge investment nowadays.
Yes,
but I think a 4-minute or 5-minute or a 10-minute film is something you don't have to invest that much time, but you're getting a lot of entertainment value.
Right. Yeah. Definitely the landscape seems to be changing. So we will need some more efforts to bring in more visitors to the theaters. So thank you very much, Professor So. That's all the time we have. We're looking forward to our next talk with you.
My pleasure.
Thank you,
Looking forward to it too.
And that brings us to the end of today's program. Thank you, Walter, again for today. We'll see you again.
See you very soon.
Okay. Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. I wish you a pleasant weekend and maybe with a short or long movie or some outdoor activities. Please join us again next week, 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day in Korea.